We're the Busby family. We're just your average house, so average household, average family.
Alexandra came out, eyes wide open, ready for the world. Everything seemed normal. She didn't sleep, but we thought that was normal to us. It was our first child, and babies don't sleep usually.
I think it was about 2 months old. Alexandra would just start scratching her ears. And it started with scratching her ears and scratching her eyes. When we took her to the doctor, doctors would say, you know, she might be gassy or she's colicky, but she was uncomfortable all the time.
So something was definitely wrong. It was just a matter of figuring out what. So we went to all different specialists. We started with dermatology because she was scratching, and allergists, immunologists, metabolic disorders doctors, and then we also went to neurology, thinking maybe it was a habit and some kind of, tic. We didn't know.
Nobody really understood what was going on. They would also tell us that she would grow out of it. And being a new parent, we didn't really know any better.
Then fast forward to about 13 months, all of a sudden, one morning we woke up and we slept in our own beds. We looked at each other, really? We slept in our own beds? Because prior to that, we were sleeping, in the cribs and taking turns. And until around 2 years old, she was really, normal. I mean, I hate to say normal, but asymptomatic. So we're like, okay, maybe they're right. She outgrew it. No. At about 2 years old, she started scratching again. And at this point, came back with a vengeance, and we had our son. So we're like, okay, something's wrong. We need to figure this out.
What do we do after we've been through every doctor and they said that there's nothing wrong with her? Our daughter was sleeping with a sleeve on, and it was a protective sleeve that went around her hands and around her arm, so it covered both of her hands so she couldn't scratch herself while she was sleeping.
Watching her crawl out of her skin, not knowing what you can do. We tried to make games with ice cubes, so she wouldn't scratch her feet. When she got to nursery school, she was taking her shoes and socks off and rubbing her feet on the floor at school. Watching her go through this, it was horrible. She wasn't sleeping, and you're helpless. What can you do? You can't even help her. So.
At that point, we had done another round of visits with the doctors, and at this point, we went to the pediatric dermatologist.
Once we got to the pediatric dermatologist, he prescribed her doxepin. It was supposed to help her relax enough so she could sleep and take the edge off, I guess, of the itching. So she took that on Thursday. By Sunday, she woke up and she was yellow.
Our daughter was 2 years old. She was bright yellow. We obviously know at this point that something is really, really wrong. What do? The pediatric gastroenterologist told us, you need to get to Mount Sinai immediately. August of 2013, we were admitted into Mount Sinai Hospital with Alexandra in acute liver failure.
Which is where we met Dr. Chu, who has been a godsend since. Thank God for her.
I clearly remember the first time that I met the Busbys. They had really had many years of Alexandra itching, and they were really searching to find an answer. I think they knew in their heart of hearts that this was not right.
She sat with us for at least an hour just to answer all of our questions and talk to us, and she was amazing. I walked out of there feeling, okay, we got this, we can figure this out. We're on a path to somewhere.
Dr. Chu walked us through exactly what was going on, how it was going on, why it was going on, and basically gave us an understanding of, here's what the situation is that you're experiencing.
We did a liver biopsy, looked at her labs, and diagnosed her with progressive familial intrahepatic cholestasis, or PFIC.
It was like one of those scenarios that, is your worst nightmare, because you have no idea what you're up against, and you didn't even know these diseases existed.
In Alexandra's liver, when you have a gene that doesn't help the bile form properly or gets secreted into these channels that come out from the liver, then that bile gets stuck. And it gets stuck in the liver, it damages the liver, but it also causes this intense itching in other parts of the body, which is really how she manifested the disease.
So now that we had a diagnosis with PFIC, we knew we had to start the medicines. So what she did, she was on all different medicines, but it still took a long time for the jaundice to get out of her, for her body to excrete the bile, even with the medicines.
I see Dr. Chu and she helps me stop itching.
Unfortunately for PFIC, the treatment options are limited. Itching was the main clinical manifestation for Alexandra, and so we prescribed her some of the standard drugs that we have for itching. Some patients, they work, and then it loses its effect.
We got into a research program, which has helped her tremendously. Now, she's not crawling out of her skin. Her levels are normal. She's not this jaundiced kid that we had for a little while. And she can live a normal life. She does gymnastics. She loves swimming in her pool.
These are all the medicines that I take.
With this disease, it could always lead to transplant at any time.
And our hope is that since the disease is progressive, that with this medicine, it doesn't get to that point.
And so we reached out to the American Liver Foundation for support on how we can, find some type of support group that can really help us get through what we were going through.
Once we found the ALF, we've contributed to the walks every year. We try to fundraise as much as we can, make awareness. And it's so important just to make people aware of all the different pediatric liver diseases there are.
They did a yearly liver walk on Long Island, and it is something that we thought that it would be great to participate in. We started in 2014 with Team Alexandra.
And now, this year, we're no longer Team Alexandra. We had to go to Team Busby because our youngest son, Joseph, also has the same disease she does. Sorry.
This is our liver walk show this year.
We did the genetic testing, and unfortunately, Joseph also has PFIC2 mutations, the same ones that Alexandra has.
Unfortunately, we can't get him into that research program at this time, but we're hoping that more funding and research, that other programs open up that become available for him.
Even though our kids may look like they're 100% normal on the outside and they look like they have no issues whatsoever, inside they're fighting a struggle every single day.
Through their funding of basic science research and clinical research, the American Liver Foundation is interested in helping pediatric liver disease, and I think the relationship that they have with the Busbys is a really wonderful one.
So we need all the help that we can get to raise awareness and help, these programs so that people can get the relief that they need.
We are as committed as a family can be to the American Liver Foundation.
And we hope that you can be too.
Please help the American Liver Foundation.